Will we have this group of Tier 1 teams emerge? Are we going to have elite teams in college football this year? If you look at the preseason odds over at FanDuel, yeah, Georgia's favored. Ohio State's up there. You're going to have Texas up there. Alabama's not going to be too far away. And Bama's been in that conversation for a long time. Oregon's there. My question is not, will those teams be good? Of course those teams will be good unless you have devastating injury. My question is, will they be elite? Because really the difference maker in any college football season will be no different now than it has always been. I don't care if you have 50 playoff spots or 2 of them. If you have elite teams, if you have programs that are top 5 recruiters with top 5 staffs and they separate, that's ball game. You may have a million different routes, but you're getting to the same destination. That team is either going to be your national champ or that team's going to lose to someone else who was one of the small handful of teams that can match them. So if we have elite teams start to emerge this year, it may be Georgia, it may be Ohio State, it may be any of the number of teams that you saw on your screen there. My question is, number one, who are they? How many of them are there? And if they avoid, like, critical late season injury, quarterback goes down or something like that, then you can have fun talking about the 11 seed. You can have fun talking about an automatic bye for the Big 12 champ. They're not going to win the title. But if you don't have that, as I've said many times over the past month, if Texas or Georgia's defensive line situation really does make them vulnerable, if those receivers that they brought in to replace the ones that left for Quinn Ewers in Texas, if they're not dynamite, if Trevor Etienne doesn't run the ball like the machine Georgia thinks he will be, if Kalen DeBoer doesn't transition that offense to his way of doing things in year one, if Dan Lanning and company do have a limited ceiling on Dylan Gabriel and maybe the level of physicality does bite him a time or two, if that stuff starts to happen, then all of a sudden we get into November and you're looking around, you're saying, hold up now. Every team's either already got a loss or the ones that don't have a loss feel like they're living on borrowed time. If that's the case, then all of a sudden you get in that playoff, whether I like it being expanded or not, you get in that situation, and it is what it is, and that may very well feel like a win and anything can happen sort of situation. I think about teams like Tennessee. Okay, Tennessee does not strike me as an elite team, but they could be a really good team. If we're living in a world where we've got a couple of elite teams, I don't think much about Tennessee in November, unless they shock me and they're one of those teams. But if we're living in a world of just a whole lot of really good teams and a couple of very good teams, no elite teams, Tennessee's the kind of thing where I don't care if they're 5 seed or 12 seed. If they're in, they could win the whole thing. And so Ole Miss strikes me as that as well. Even if they're not themselves elite, if no elite teams emerge around them, you let Jackson Dart in there, you let Lane Kiffin in the playoff, and anything could happen.